there you have it.
Maybe you want to, if you would, just talk a little bit more about Greg.
I met Greg in probably. Well, I don't know. He wasn't tattooing very long at all. I think he might have started maybe around 1980, maybe somewhere around there, I think. But anyway, went up there, met him. We hit it off instantly, and you know, shit, man. And he was absolutely the biggest influence, lettering wise, you know, and just that style of that negative space and just the crazy style that he had. I just fucking absolutely loved it, you know. And it was like, and it was also a style that was really tattooable, because like some artists out there that are like, you know, amazing artists, their styles are not necessarily translatable to tattooing.
Right.
And even these days, as you know, people are doing literal fucking paintings on people and shit. It's like, I really have to question sometimes, like, you guys know that this is a living canvas, right? Like, you know, you do a nice painting, it could still be here in several hundred years if it's, you know, not exposed to weather and so forth. I go, but like, you know, get good photos, because, you know, this human canvas where none of us gets out alive. And in many cases, when you really go overboard with shit, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It does not stand the test of time.
Right.
Like, at all.
Yeah.
And you know, you've seen plenty, and again, some of these people are extremely talented, but they don't have the time and grade in as far as like, hey, what's going to actually work on the skin for longevity? What's going to stand, you know, the long haul here and still look good in 20 or 30 years? Well, a lot of the stuff that's being put on now, there's no fucking way, because there's too much black, too much white, too much gray, no skin, or just all blasted color with, like, you know, and with a lot of times, as you know, because you've done a fuckload of color work, color can bail you out. You can have something where like, we need some more contrast here.
Right.
where it's more difficult with black and gray, because it's either black and you know, and flesh is, you know, black and flesh is going to be the best contrast, but then other, you know, tones of gray and so forth, shades of gray, I mean, like, you know, you got to be careful so you don't lose shit.
Right.
Where color, you know, you can have something, an outline that's like, boy, that's pretty fucking complicated and busy, but using the right colors can save it. Contrasting colors, what's going to make this color pop versus, you know, so even though I don't do a lot of color, I still understand how that works more or less, right? And so, but you know, but I trip out, because I mean, you know, the state of the art of tattooing is like, fuck, man. I mean, it's more popular than ever. The level of mind-blowing work is at an all-time fucking high, and doesn't seem to be any end in sight as far as that goes. But a lot of the stuff, even people I respect, I follow, and I like their stuff, and I tap the like, I'm like, that's not going to last.
I'm definitely guilty,
you know what I mean?
of
That's not going to last.
I'm guilty of using some poor choices for some stuff, but I think overall I've tried to use the foundation of tattooing and understand it, and I think for myself, making those mistakes in the past and understanding this is partially why I think that people do that kind of stuff, because of their ego. They don't respect what tattooing, they don't put themselves in the confines of what really works for tattooing. They want to force their idea of what a tattoo can become.
I know.
And not in a way that works with both of those things together.
I absolutely agree, because it's kind of like Stewart, you know, doing you know, Stewart, you'll remember him in a second, if you don't already, where you know, somebody does this amazing fucking piece, and they're not saying it, but the implication is still there. Look what I can do. You know, look at my mad skills. Look what I can do. And it's like, yes, I get it. I get it. You know, that's kind of human nature with a lot of artists, I guess, you know. But at the same time, it's like, okay, Holmes, so you pulled off some amazing, absolutely amazing shit. And we're not even talking about photoshopping stuff to make, because like, I was seeing stuff from a few years ago, and I was like, boy, oh boy, like, I mean, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or anything, but like, should I just fucking stop now while I'm ahead? Because I'll never tattoo like this. I don't even know how this was done. I don't know how this fucking tattoo is so fucking black.
Yeah.
I don't even get it. And then like with the white, and I'm like, I don't even know. I can't even imagine how this was even done.
Right.
And then come to find out, oh, that's because it was done on a computer. It's like the reason it looks unbelievable is because it is unbelievable. Of course, you follow the Truth Fairy. The Truth Fairy on Instagram.
No.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. You got to do that today.
It's good.
Because this guy's exposing that. When people are doing...
Like a healed photo?
Yes.
The healed photos are just...
And sometimes the healed photo, like the tattoo can look amazing. But when you compare it to the photo that was posted, and really, and then there's no redness. It looks healed already, but it looks better than healed. And I'm like, what? And it never occurred to me, this is bullshit. This is photoshopped.
Right.
Never occurred to me. And see, there's people that use that even defend it. It's like, how can you defend it? That's like putting a post of a paint job that you did where the one that you posted through photoshopping and whatever is 10 times better. And people are going to pay you, and you're frauding. You're frauding the fucking public. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Because, I mean, look, sometimes we will use a filter on something, one of the ones that it's in the fucking... the photo grid, or I mean, just the Instagram fucking app where you got these, where like that's really fucking red. Like you can tone that down, but see, that does not make the tattoo look 10 times better than it actually does. It just takes maybe some of the redness out and shit like that. Like that's fine. That's fine because like that's what the tattoo looked like when it healed up anyway.
Right.
More like that than all this fucking redness and the skin looks very irritated and all this kind of shit. Like that's one thing, but do you see some of these?
Yeah, it makes it look like an unreal tattoo.
Absolutely.
You're
and
like,
you're
wow,
looking
I've never
at
tattooed like
how could you tattoo that person for 10 or 12 hours and there's no redness there.
Yeah.
And the saturation is unbelievable.
Literally.
How is that possible on a human canvas? And you can't rototill over skin for very long without tearing it up completely. You can't do it.
And it's bizarre too sometimes when you see all the, you know how a color tattoo is when you pound a bunch of white in it. The white gets in lots of other colors.
That's
but
right.
You see it, everything looks like every one is perfect.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
know.
wow.
I know.
I feel the same way. I'm like, I know my tattoos come back healing really good.
Yeah.
And really solid.
Yeah.
But my tattoos, when they're finished, don't look like those.
They don't look like
at
that.
all. I'm like, oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I used to think like, like I don't know, man. Like I thought, well, luckily for me, I've got a little section of people that like my work. The fine line, black and gray side of town, and people are happy with that.
Right.
And so I don't need a fuckload of customers anyway. You know what I mean? Just a small amount to keep me happy, and etc. Where I would just think like I couldn't even begin to tattoo like that. I don't even know how that was even done, much less how time consuming that was. Because like some of this stuff looks like it just took so fucking long, and how could it not? But
Right.
then again, see, some of these people that are doing this should be just doing courses for people that don't tattoo, but just like how to get the most out of photoshopping. Stuff like that, right? Not fucking,
Right.
like making your tattoo look 10 times better than it ever will look. Because like in the Truth Fairy, the guy shows some of the healed photos, and again, and it's nice, but they look like a healed photo of a tattoo.
Yeah. Which when you do crazy
like
color portrait, no outline stuff, healed, a nice healed tattoo, sometimes you're like,
right?
Like it's not even that good.
Right.
Even though when they were done with the photo, it looks, like you said, truly
Excellent.
unbelievable.
Excellent.
Right, excellent.
Right.
And you know that they're doing it right, but in the end, you're like, it still doesn't have the it. It's like lacking all this stuff.
Yeah, because like see the guy that's the godfather pretty much of color portraits, Nico. Okay, like he's been doing it long enough. He gets it and he understands it, and he's got his system. He's got his techniques. He's got his formula. But other people that are just trying to do that without knowing what he knows, without, using those same
Experience,
techniques.
too.
It's like, yeah, that stuff's not going to heal up the same way, and it's not going to last. Because I've seen stuff of his that, like, maybe it's 8 years old, 10 years old, a full color portrait, and it looks great. But that's because he knows what he knows, and he honed that, and he fine-tuned it.
Right.
Other people are just jumping on this fucking bandwagon, just like this crazy. I mean, again, black and gray works at an all-time fucking high in popularity. But some of the stuff that's being done, I would look like, fuck, I can't do that. I don't even know how that was done. I don't even get that, But I would leave it at that. It never occurred to me like, hey, maybe when it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true.
Right.
Like that's not real. Just didn't occur to
Right.
me.
I've only seen one healed Nico piece. Not that this is important, but I saw on a guy's forearm, just the inside of a forearm healed. It was like maybe a skull with some candle or something. I can't remember, but it was a little bigger than my forearm. It's not too big, but like, and it was like he's like, oh, it's like 14 hours, 3 sessions, and I'm like, really? Because I'm like, I'm a pretty fast tattooer. I'm thinking, for me to tattoo that solid one session, I could do it in one session.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's like, because it's no outline too.
Right.
I mean, I know that sometimes it takes a little longer because you got to be tedious.
Yeah,
but still,
you're really.
I was
tweaking
thinking
on
like,
shit.
man, I mean, that tattoo, the way it's done, looks like it would take me like 5 hours, 6 hours.
Yeah.
It took like 14. And I know he charges like even more than me. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but
I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying
no,
it was
I
interesting.
know.
It was interesting to see.
Yeah.
And also, even though it looked good, it didn't look great. It didn't look great, especially for the amount of time. I was like, wow, it still doesn't look great.
Yeah, because for 14 hours you could have literally stippled all that, really, and probably still done it in less time and have it to where it's like, because that's the thing I tell people with the stippling. Go, hey, every fucking it's a separate tattoo, and it's not going anywhere because as you know. You accidentally hit yourself with the fucking machine like we've all done at times. No, not any time recently because we all know how dangerous that shit is now. But in the old days, you just like was god damn it, you hit and so but and it stays. It's like, well, that's son of a bitch, and it doesn't matter where it's at. It's there.
I remember Jeff Whitehead was tattooing my foot, and he slipped for some reason, and with a magnum, and he hit my toe, the top of my toe knuckle, and he like left like a full mag mark like on the top of my toe knuckle. I was like, ow, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, I hit your toe. I was like, what are you doing? And he looks at my toe, and he's like, oh, it'll come off. I'm like, it's a tattoo.
No,
they don't come off, dude.
Come
I
off,
still have
Holmes.
like the mag mark.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's don't come off. They're tattoos.
Hey, the first tattoo I actually ever got was sort of by accident. And a kid in school we ended up being good friends, but I was fucking with him doing something. Maybe flicking his ears or something. And anyway, and he finally had enough of that, and he turned around with a sharp pencil, and went to stab me. And I put my left arm up, and he got me. Unfortunately, though, I ended up tattooing over it, but it was like from a pencil. And it was permanent, and it was a dark gray,
Permanently tattooed
from a pencil
pigment.
lead,
Oh, that's
pencil
crazy.
lead, yeah.
You know,
the old graphite.
Back to what we were talking about with black and gray. Zach and I have used a little machine, like a slow-running rotary, to do stippling, like to do kind of like to speed that up, but it really creates like a really nice pattern.
It does.
And he was telling me because I hadn't done it before, and so I was.
And I haven't done that either, but I was seeing people that were doing that. There's a Korean tattooer, Sao tattoo. And it might be a woman as well, but anyway, that does really. If you're not already following, you gotta check this person out. Skulls, flowers, snakes are like one of the things that this artist gets hit up to do, and probably really loves doing as well. Roses, chrysanthemums, but crazy skulls. And snakes, just like amazing shit, right? All black and gray. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, that's stippled, but it's not stippled one at a time. And I'm like, I don't know exactly how they're doing that, but I'm thinking like probably, I guess, with a rotary.
It's a slow running rotary.
I have not seen them. I've not seen them actually work, and if I did, I'd be like, oh, okay, I get it.
You'd like it.
You know,
but it sounds a little like Taburi. You can hear it hit the skin.
Yeah, S-O-U. S-O-U
know it?
tattooer.
Look so anyway, he understands because he's been using this for a while.
Yeah.
And so he's like, we were talking about stuff, and I was leaning on him to give me information. I was like, how much should I do it or whatever? And he's like, don't do it too dark, or don't put them too close together. And we were talking about other people's work. He's like, you see this stuff? He's like, this is going to be way too dark. Right. This is going to become so heavy. Yeah. Because they've just done it too much. They don't understand that it's going to change. And it just kind of goes back to longevity, understanding the skin, that's understanding what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why some of these hotshot artists out there, they're amazingly talented. Right. But it's as if some of the stuff that you see, it's as if they like, you not realize this is skin? Right. I mean, like, yes, you want to showcase your mad skills and like, look what I can do, kind of shit. But like at the same time, you don't realize it can't hold. It cannot hold. The test of longevity. That it can't do well with the test of time. It cannot.
And contrarily, I remember seeing a piece from Philip in Europe in 2000 or 1999, and it was a koi fish in a form with a big finger cap here. And I was like, God, that looks great. I was just looking at it, He's got such a way that he puts pigment in the skin. Mm-hmm. His work is so incredible. And I was looking at it, and the guy had hair on his arm, so he goes, oh, you can see here, look closer. And you can see that the mag work that he did was super rough in the cap.
Oh, he did it. So it was like
pointillism with a mag,
or like old school whip shading.
It was super whipped, but it was with gray. So it was aggressively put in, but with a mag and rough, because he knew, he's like, don't worry, in like a year this is going to look perfect. And from me to you right now, if it was on your arm, it looks beautiful. Yeah. But when you get close, you can see this right. Like really aggressive.
See, that's something.
And it was super cool. I was like, wow, that really made an impression on me. I was like, this guy's so smart.
When I started tattooing, I didn't like the shading that was being done. I didn't like it at all because like the whip shading, skip shading, it was so choppy, and the way it was done, I could immediately tell. I thought, this person's they're moving too fast.
Right.
And I thought if you tried to duplicate that shading in a drawing, it'd be a real pain on the ass because you don't have the advantage of a reciprocating pencil or marker or whatever you're using that'll do that. You'd have to do that each one by hand and then progressively get lighter and further away and whatever. And I hated that because I thought this was invented by tattooers that were in a hurry. And not that I even fault them for that necessarily, because like, hey, if you were near a Navy base and you had 15 sailors, that's how they started doing the assembly line thing. Like, okay, we're going to outline everybody here first, so they don't go down the street to our competition, hopefully, and then we'll start finishing them. But we're gonna get them all with an outline. We're gonna hook them with that, and, because the shading and color generally takes longer. Depending on what you're doing, of course. But I hated that shading. I just thought, I fucking hate whip shading. I hate skip shading, And I still kind of do. It depends on how it's done. But I thought, well, I'm determined to figure out how to do shading smooth. And I remember the first example that I remember ever seeing of really smooth shading was done by Phil Sims, who used to work in Long Beach at the Pike, among other places. Right. But and he's retired now. Yeah. But I remember
he still does drawings and
stuff. Yeah, but he did a Donald Duck. It was also no color, as I remember. So it was on the black and gray side of town, and the shading was just like, it was smooth. It was like, wow. And I thought, I'm going to figure out how to do that. I don't know how I'm going to figure out how to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. And of course, having a mag at that point, because that might have been in 75, 76, something like that when I saw that. Right. But it was like, yeah, probably 76, I imagine. But like, so my first example, it's like I knew it could be done. I didn't know how Phil did it, but I was determined to figure it out.
Right.
And so just through a lot of trial and error, man, I kind of did, because I just thought like, yeah, I want the shading to look more like airbrushed. I don't want you to really be able to see, because again, for certain things, like say you're doing a skull or a monster or whatever the fuck, and so with that extra texture, that's fine.
Right.
Using a, more whip shading, whatever, because I see it done. I saw very recently, yeah, where it was absolutely done very deliberately.
Yeah.
It was not done because that's the only kind of shading technique that person knows how to do. I knew, it was like, oh, that's very deliberate, and I thought it's cool because it contrasts with the more smooth shading and whatever, So there's definitely still a place for it, but I just always, I thought, no, I want to learn how to do this smooth. I don't want to do, if I want, I'll do stippling or whatever if I need to add another layer of, but I really like this. Like, I don't know if these guys looked up that the one I mentioned, this person that does the skulls and snakes and flowers, but the work is outstanding.
Interesting.
And it has to be done like what you're talking about, the slow rotary for the shading, because it just looks, and it's like I can tell it's done with a machine. I can tell that it's not done one dot at a time.
Right. It's not done like
absolutely
this.
Tell that because there's just a difference in how it looks.
Right.
Right. But it is really, really cool. And so
the machines are cool too. They're real little, lightweight.
When you get a chance, you gotta check out this person's work, man, because it's badass. I'd like to think that I've carried on the tradition of Greg's style, especially in like lettering.
Oh yeah.
Because it was like when he died, man, in '84. There was just like, I was doing it already. Because I, and we were friends, and like he knew that I wasn't just trying to straight rip this guy off because I don't do that.
Right.
But when I like something that someone's done, it's like I want to incorporate that technique or that style into what I do, not just like, oh, I'm going to do this and just, so people think I'm him or whatever. But I know that Greg would, I believe, definitely.
He would
be good with what I'm doing.
He would be so proud of you.
Well,
sure.
Isn't that a trip, man? '84
Yeah.
is when he died. So that was 36 fucking years ago already.
Yeah.
Hit by a bus in Bangkok. Sounds like a bad
movie thing.
B movie or
Yeah,
something.
it does.
But that's what happened.
But you remember the portrait he did of somebody's wife? Who was it? The tattooed woman? He's got a tattoo that he did, a portrait of her with tattoos, and it has the name in a banner, and the name is so fucking good. It's so. I remember even then, like wherever I saw it, when in the very beginning stages of my tattooing, I was like, this guy really knows how to do it. Like the lettering has that natural. Everything has just got the natural.
And that's
the
thing,
hand style.
His understanding of lettering. That's one of the things that made
it.
him such a master. Is he just understood, and that's And see, I like to think I understand lettering pretty good too. But I think that's
more than almost anybody.
One of the keys is that understanding it. It's just like understand how it works and how it goes, and and my very earliest influence for lettering was a sign painter that lived around the corner when I was a kid. I used to ride my tricycle over there and see this sign painter working in his garage with and then just and I was just like, I was mesmerized by that shit. I was like, how in the fuck? Of course, I didn't know the word fuck or anything like that, but I was blown away. I was blown away by what this guy was doing. And I said, can I learn how to do that? That's really neato, or whatever I said to him, and he just laughed and he goes, well, yeah, sure. It just takes a lot of practice, kid. Do you want to practice? And I go, I'll do, sure, I'll do, practice, whatever, but and so my love for lettering started, before I could probably even letter. And I remember even getting in trouble in school because I really took pride in my lettering and making it legible. Not necessarily fancy and crazy, but just like real legible, where like I remember just a lot of kids didn't. And I just thought, well, whatever the reason is, I want mine to be legible and nice, And I remember the teacher sometimes telling like that, you just need to get it done. I go, yeah, but if I hurry, it won't look as good. And they go, that's okay, just get it done. And of course now kids aren't even being taught to write, to do script of any kind. It's all digital. You only have to know how to write your fucking name. But so Greg was, and to this day is the biggest influence. But I mean, again, other people
Sure.
have people, from cartoon to, like there's so many guys that do really outstanding lettering these days that I'm a fan of, including, our Norm, who did really, really cool lettering, who was really influenced, he always said mostly by my lettering, which was cool. But, guys like Boog and Phlox and, there's, BJ Betts, there's a bunch of guys that are just lettering phenoms out there,
sick. BJ's really great.
Yeah, and really he's a guy, too, that, like Mies, too, Big Mies, that understands.
Mies is really good, too.
Understands lettering.
To me, those two guys are the standout guys in the more younger generation of tattooers that understand lettering.
Yeah, really.
Mies and BJ are
really good.
Just
but then
really,
I've seen Phlox do stuff too, where like I just see him. Where I remember what I admired about his is like again when I admire people that I see like do something and it's like wow, I wouldn't have thought of that, but that's badass.
Nice.
That wouldn't have occurred to me to make that curve this way instead of the way I normally do it. And so anybody that thinks outside the box, even if it's just my box, I always like, that's fucking cool.